Hello! It's not a figment of your imagination. I am actually here. This is episode 34 of the Country Bumpkin Creates podcast. My name is Lucy. You can find me on the Instas as country_bumps and on Ravelry as countrybumps. I'm coming to you from a actually blue-skied Dartmoor. We've had a bit of rain in us. Yeah, but actually it's a beautiful winter's day today. It's a bit chilly, a bit nipply out there, but it's nice. It's dry. The sun is out. There is blue sky. We're doing all right. Luckily, we haven't been flooded. I know there has been flooding around the country, so if you have been involved with that, then I hope you're doing okay. Welcome back to any returning viewers, and a big welcome and hello to any new viewers. There have been a couple of you, so I don't know where you found me. So it's been months and months and months since I was here last, so we're drawing a line under that, and we're starting again. We're starting afresh. Excuse me. That's polite, isn't it? I've just had cheese and it doesn't like me, but I love it and I can't give it up. Sorry. Where were we? Yeah, so we're drawing a line. No more. I promise. I am going to be coming to you every 2 weeks. Now, the reason I have not come to you more frequently is because I always worry about content. But would you rather see this beautiful face like every couple of weeks for a short time, and we'll just, but it may be a bit repetitive with whips and FOs, or not that many FOs, but it'll be the same sort of whips? Or would you rather a longer, this is going to be quite a long one today, I imagine. Would you rather a long one every few months? But I don't feel that's very good for the engagements. So what I think I'm going to do is we'll do a short one every couple of weeks and we'll see how we go. Do you like my hair, by the way? I'm embracing the curls rather than the fluff that it was before. I've been using a product called Only Curls, and it's really brought out the curls in my hair. And bought myself a diffuser, which is making a difference too, because normally I let it air dry, but it doesn't have the same sort of. But yeah, so Only Curls, it's as it says on the tin, it's a 4-step system. So you cleanse, then you, I was going to say moisturize, but that's for your face. You cleanse, you conditioner, then you use a hydrating lotion, and then there's like a enhancing gel which holds your curls. And I've also added in, so it comes as like a starter kit with those 4. And when I renewed, because I ran out, because the starter kit's only small bowls, so I bought the big bowls, I added in a mousse as well, which has really helped. So check them out. They're all over. I saw them on a Facebook ad and was like, let's give it a go. Yeah, really loving the curls. Okay. So, first things first, we'll look at last year, shall we? And I'm a bit of a nerd, as you will see in a second. I like to keep stats. And I like to keep stats on gluttony, shall I say, with skeins of yarn in versus skeins of yarn out. And I haven't looked at my spreadsheet, but it was a lot last year. And I'm hoping this year will be less in and a lot more out. So we shall see. I'm not holding myself to that because, as you can see, yarn piggery is, yeah. But there's two things. I'm going to be more insightful with what I buy. So not necessarily buying single skeins anymore. Although I say that every year and it still happens. And trying to buy with a project in mind. But then I do get a bit like squirrel, like, oh, that's pretty, oh, that's pretty, oh, that's pretty. But just need to be a bit more insightful with my purchases. And also, I'm going to try is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Try to only buy yarn that I can touch. So that means only buy at events. However, saying that, I fell off the wagon by 11 AM New Year's Day when Spectrum Fibre put out their mini skein club. You know, because I haven't got, you can't see it, but there's a box above my head here that's full of mini skeins. There's a box down here that's full of mini skeins, and there's also one in that Calax unit over there that's full of mini skeins. But you know, but what I will show you in a moment, I'm going to need lots of mini skeins. So anyway, last year, so what I do is I have a notebook. I've changed the way, let me show notes on the floor. I've changed the way I do it this year, but last year I had like a diary and I just every day filled in what I was going to work on. And also what I've taken from another podcast that I watch. Oh, what's she called? Knit All the Yarn, I think her podcast is called. She's called Lisa. She's 72 Stitches on the Instagram. Well, I'll put a link down below. I'm going to try and do show notes, so I'll put a link down below of her podcast. I need to write that down. I need to write that down. Bear with. Picked up 2 pencils, both with broken. Link Lisa's podcast. Now she podcasts every week, but she is prolific, absolutely prolific knitter. I'm sure it's called Knit All the Yarn. What she does is she keeps a running total every month of meters in versus meters out. So I'm going to start doing that. I did start doing it. So I started it here in October, and you can see where did I go in October that I had all that? Oh, Stitch Fest. No, Stitch Fest was November. Went somewhere anyway. In the beginning of October that I bought a lot of yarn. Yeah, so you can see that week. So I did it, but I broke it down into week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. So week 1 I took in 2,725 and out 3,238 because I finished this, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And then following weeks, nothing, and I finished something here. That was 989 meters. Oh, that was my Geo Gradient shawl. Oh, balls, I've forgotten to bring that in. I'm going to get it in a minute. Yeah. So there we go. So that's what I did last year. There's lots of so's in there, sorry. That's what I did last year. And then in the back of the diary, I kept a running total of what I finished, what the meters that they used, and how I measure that is I weigh the yarn before I start. So I've got a pair of those, like, Nigel calls them drug dealer scales. They're like small, like jewelry. They're on Amazon as jewelry scales, and they're like £8 or £9, and I keep that with my notions. So I weigh everything when I start, and then I weigh it when I finished, and then I know how much weight I've used. So if I've used 50 grams of 100 gram skein, for instance, that would normally be 425 meters. So 1 gram would weigh 4.2, 1 gram in weight would equal 4.25 meters in length. 425 divided by 100, 4.25. So then I times that by the 50, so it gives me 212.5 meters. That's how I know for sure how many meters. And previous years I haven't done like the odd, like 0.5 or 0.75, but they all add up. Points make prizes. So we're going to do that this year. We're going to keep the 0.5s, the 0.75s, you know, that sort of stuff. So that's how I accurately know when I start a project. So I weigh it, because not every skein is 100 grams. A lot of them have extra. So a lot of them are like 106, 107 grams. So you can't guarantee that it's 100 grams when you start. So that's what I do. I weigh it before I start. I write on the ball band. Let me see if I've got a ball band handy. Yeah, so here we go. So I've written on this ball band that it was 105 grams when it started. So then I know when I finished, I weigh it, and we work out how many meters. So that's what I do here. So then you can see I made some Hosenmatz trousers for Jasper, and they were 397 meters. And then I keep here in a running total of what we've done, what's been achieved. So at the end of 2023, I finished 23 items, which, you know, it's not bad. Not bad, not bad. I did 6 sweaters, 5 baby knits. So that's adult sweaters, not baby sweaters. So 5 baby knits, 4 hats, 3 pairs of socks, 2 cowls, and 1 pair of mittens. What mittens? Oh yeah, the Everything November mittens I did. And that was a total of 15,342 meters for the year. So I don't think that's bad. But I'm hoping that by measuring my ins, it'll hold me a little bit more accountable. Not that I need to be accountable. I'm a grown-ass woman. I earn my own money. We're not in any debt. Well, we don't owe anybody anything. I'm not in any debt. So, you know, as long as we're not starving, then, and we've got a roof over our head, then I don't feel guilty about buying yarn. I know that sounds very privileged, doesn't it? I probably shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that. But I know it does sound very privileged, and I know I am very lucky and very privileged in that respect. Should I cut that out? No, I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to leave it in. This year we're doing it slightly different. I have 2 different notebooks. I found these just, you know what, stationery is like yarn, and you can't just not buy it. So so what we're doing this year is it's basically like a Ravelry page, but not for Ravelry, not on Ravelry. It's just like, so what I'm doing is project number 1. These are going to be socks for my sister's birthday. The yarn, main colour, contrast colour, I'm sure it's slate. Then these ones were a cranked tube that I cranked back in the summer. And then, so start date, end date, and so this one is probably a better page to show you. So this was Nedward, which I'll show you in a minute. These are the yarns I used, needle size, pattern, start date, finish date, yarn totals used, and the total was 89.5. So there you can see I'm saving that 0.5. So I'm doing a page like that for every project. Because I don't always, I'm not very good at keeping up to date with my Ravelry project pages. I can't remember the last time I did one, to be honest. But it's nice to have that information, isn't it? So in this book is more of my, I wanted to set myself, like, it wasn't so much like over Christmas and New Year. I was thinking about what I would like to, oh, that's an interesting piece of hair there. What I would like to achieve in the following, in like this year. So I haven't really thought about a lot of knitting, but what I would like to do is 1 pair of socks a month from sock tubes. I've got a lot of self-striping, and I've got a lot of single skeins, so that's very achievable. 1 gnome per month. We'll come on to that in a minute. Stash down. So I say finish my, so this is not just knitting, this is crafting in general. So finish my Laurie Holt Scrappiness is Happiness quilt, finish my Socialites quilt. I want to do a Christmas table runner because we've got like a TV unit underneath the TV, and that's where, like, at Christmas I put all my decorations, and my nativity goes on there and stuff. And I've got like a little quilted runner on there already, but it's not a Christmas one. So there was a Christmas one that I saw just before Christmas that I really like, so I'm going to do that. My 12 days of Christmas ornaments, there's a lady called Corinne Lapierre who does felt decorations and things like that, and I bought the decoration, the ornaments kit last year sometime, possibly the Christmas before that, because I saw someone on Instagram was doing them. So it might have been Christmas, well, we just had 2023, so it might have been Christmas 2022 I bought them, and I have half of the first day of Christmas done. So they're ornaments based on the 12 days of Christmas, basically. So I would like to get those done. So I thought if I can do 1 a month, or 1 or 2 a month, that would really, because something else I did over the Advent by the same lady, I really enjoyed doing it every day. So I'm hoping that I can get my bum into gear and get that sorted out. And I would also like to read or listen. I used to be a huge reader, and used to like read for hours, and I don't know why, but I don't know whether brain is, I'm just not into reading as much as I used to be, but I would like to go back, and at WI we have a book club, And it's not a everyone sit down and read the same book club. It's a, what are you reading? What have you read? Or what have you just finished reading? Did you enjoy it? That sort of, you know, book club. So I would like to read, and also when I'm in here sewing, I listen to audiobooks. I listen to a lot of podcasts as well, but I also listen to audiobooks. So I would like to listen and or read at least 24 books this year. Now, I know some people were like, oh, that's not a lot, but for me that would be a lot. So I'm not going to set myself up for failure with that. So I thought 24 was achievable. Anything over that, bonus. And should we add a little book chat element? Maybe that would like bulk out the podcast a little bit if we did a book chat and what I'm watching type thing. Maybe. So that's my sort of general 2024 making plans. As for like, I would like to make X jumper, Y jumper, Z jumper. Yeah, there probably are several that I would like to, but again, new stuff comes out and you're a bit like, oh, that's nice. So stuff gets pushed to the back burner. So maybe I didn't want to like do a make 9 or you know, anything like that. I have done that in the past and didn't finish it. So yeah. So so then I thought, right, okay, what do I want to get done this month? So we've then got January goals. So Sarah's birthday socks, Claire's Penguino, which I'll come on to in a minute. Finish my Genome Pope piece, which again I'll come on to in a minute. My chairman's challenge for my quilting group, which needs to be done by February. A gnome, and what does that say? I can't read that. Oh, partridge ornament. So that's the partridge in a pear tree. Yeah. So the first day of Christmas. Partridge. Yeah. So that's one. It's half started, so I need to crack on with that. And then we've got January stats. So meters in at the moment 0, but there is stuff coming in the post. Out was my gnome, which was 89.5. So I'm just writing it in pencil at the moment, and then I can tot it up so I can keep like a running total. Maybe I should just do that when I post it, perhaps. Yeah, that might be a better idea. And then number of projects completed. So at the moment I've only got me Nedwood gnome finished. So that's where we are stat wise. So and then on my laptop I have a spreadsheet going back probably 5 or 6 years, and I list what skeins of yarn come in. So I do company, the colorway, and whether it's like, you know, 50 grams or 100 grams or DK or like a set of minis perhaps. Yeah. So that is where we're at with that, with nerdy things. Right then, shall we get on with what we're here for, which is knitting. Well, we've got knitting and sewing, and knitting, sewing, embroidery today. It's a bit interesting, isn't it? Oh, and some crochet. Yeah. Right, I am going to just pause it there a minute because I need to go and grab my MCAL shawl, which I've left out. I went out looking for it and it was over there, right in front of me. Tell you what, menopause brain is real, people. I need to get on to the doctors and get some HRT in me pretty damn quick. Okay, so let's go with finished objects. So let's go with the obvious one, which is this lush amazingness. This is the Penguono. I will stand up. I'll take it off in a minute. You can see the amazingness, and then border, I-cord edge. It's got like a shawly sort of collar. It's not a foldy over shawl collar, it's just a wide collar. Shoulder, it's got welts on the back. Take it off. I'll take it off because it's warm in here, and this is really warm. I'll put a cheese all on my front then, but it's not. So this is the back with the welts. Just like an unruly. So there are the welts. This is predominantly made of scraps, but when we were at the Southern Wool Show in Newbury, we met the wonderful James Makes Things. Oh my god, him and his partner are just the nicest, two of the nicest human beings you will ever meet. They also then, so we saw them in Newbury, and I picked up some yarn, this yarn here. So this is all the same colourway from James Makes Things, but it is in his sparkle base. I don't know if it's picking up the sparkle, but there is sparkle in there. It's sparkle, slub, and Surrey alpaca. Held triple. So here is what I had left over, because it's all over this. So it's a wonderful James Makes Things. This is the sparkle, so it's 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. Oh no, that was the slub, sorry. And it's in his colourway Sugar Plums. So this was the slub, which is, if you don't know what slub is, it's like this crinkly yarn with these knobbly bits in it, which just had so much texture. This was the sparkle. Oh, you can see the sparkle in that then. And this is the Surrey alpaca. It's blowing out a little bit. It is a bit darker than that. I will put in some photos here. And then I'll put my finger up because then I know where to put them. Of some photos that John from Bird Street took of me wearing said Penguono. I think that might be cheese there. Sorry. Got my lunch all down my front. So yeah. I'll put in some photos of what John took of me. Yeah. At the last flock, which was just before Christmas. So then this is the tag for the sparkle, which is 75 merino, 20% nylon, 5% silver stellina. And then the Surrey alpaca, which is 74% baby Surrey alpaca and 26% silk. Oh, it's so soft. It's just lush. So I've got a sneeze. Excuse me. Sneezed all the words out of my brain now. yeah, when we were at Southern Wool Show, we got chatting to James, and it's just hysterical. He's so lovely. Him and his partner Matt are amazing humans. And they were then, the next time we would see them would be when they vended at the Christmas flock. So I picked up this yarn. Rach had either just started or just finished a penguino. Oh, I just can't remember. Anyway, Rach has done 3 or 4 penguinos now. And I was like, something that's always been on my, like, I really want to knit this list. And I was like, right, I'm going to do it. So when we got to James Makes Things, I saw this yarn, and I was like, that would be perfect for the, and I was only going to get the Sparkle and the Slub, I think, and then he showed me the Surrey Alpaca. He's a very good salesman. So we ended up with all 3, and I was like, right, that's going to be the back panel of my penguino. And knowing that James was coming to flock in the end of November or middle of November, I was like, right, I'm going to get it done for flock. I was done within, like, I think it took me 12 days. I think I cast on not long after we got back from Newbury. Let me check. Which was September. Says I started. Penguino. That also, I knit a penguino for Imogen's little one's first birthday. And that also made me want to then start my penguino. Like, really wanted to start my penguino. We went to Newbury show on the 2nd of September. I started my penguino the 17th of September because I had something else on the needles that I wanted to. Oh no, we were going on holiday. That's why. We were going on holiday, so I knew obviously wouldn't have been able to take penguino away with us, because obviously it's like a huge amount of yarn, and nobody wants to knit a 3-strand jumper or cardigan while sitting on a sun lounger in 35-degree weather. It was warm. It was a bit too warm for me, but yeah, so I didn't start it till we came back from holiday. I came back from holiday on the 16th of September. I started my penguino on the 17th of September because I was just like itching to do it. We literally landed from Greece at like 3 o'clock. We were late. 3 o'clock Sunday morning, and we went away again 8 o'clock Monday morning. So we weren't even in the house. Well, yeah, we were literally in the house like 24 hours before we went again. We were only away overnight that time, but it was just like really bad timing on our part because we were absolutely knackered. But anyway, so we went to Highgrove, which is King Charles's country house, and we went with WI. So we went for a tour of his gardens, and then went to Western Burt Arboretum the next day. It was beautiful. So again, couldn't take Penguono there, so brought Penguono. So then cracked on with Penguono once we were home, and finished it on the 4th of October. So actually physically working on it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 days. But mind you, it is chunky, you know, so it is 3 strands of yarn. But in the pattern, the back is in seed stitch. But I was like, no, sorry. And Rach had done one with a garter back panel, so that's what I did here. Did the same amount of rows, like, because obviously the seed stitch, you do so many rows, so I did so many garter ridges. But I just love it. I love it. And I wear it everywhere that I can. It's a bit like Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat, but I don't care. I don't care. I would like to do a more neutrally one. Rachel's got one in greys, and that's really lovely. Really lovely. But my pink and purple loving heart needed a pink and purple one to begin with. And also my mint green had to be in there, so I did the I-cord in mint green. But I put the Surrey alpaca. So I've dotted so the James Makes Things is a majority of it's here, but it's also, I put the slub in the sleeve. I think I put the sparkle and the Surrey alpaca with another one or two in the neck bit. The collar is what I was thinking of, and also the sparkle is in here as well, I think. So just to make it a bit more cohesive. But there's obviously Mr. B's is in there, Bird Street yarn. There's some Homespun House. There's Nora George. There's all sorts in here. I literally got all my purple like scraps, and that's really bad, isn't it? All my purple scraps and like leftovers and minis and things like that. And again, weighed everything before I started, and everything. I've got an A4 sheet, which is just everything on it, and it used 3,238 meters. So just a tad, just a little amount of yarn. Yeah. So that's the Penguono. Highly, highly, highly recommend. You will see in a moment that I am doing another one. So next FO is this year's Mystery Knit Along by Stephen West. As you know, this is a bit of a Stephen West and Bird Street. If you're doing a drinking game. Cheers. As usual. I'm sure you're all aware of the controversy that surrounded this year's Mystery Knit Along. And I hope that Stephen got the support and help that he needed, because he looked a broken man at some points on his podcast, or on his, not podcast, but on his update videos. I'm just going to grab a tissue, bear with. We are getting over, both of us have had this manky cold stroke COVID thing going around. Nigel's still got it at the moment. So apologies. It's one of those things that lingers. So if you've had it or I've got it at the moment, my sympathies. This is the Geo Gradient Shawl by Stephen West, which, as I said, was this year's knit along. So you started with this. This wasn't the original design, but this is what then became the design that Stephen wanted us to use. So my yarns are Bird Street, of course. This is Bohemian, Canoodle, Beaujolais, and Figgy. My hair is like in everything. So you started, and then you did these eyelet and reverse stockinette rows on both sides, and then you did this amazing like slip stitch technique, which gave this amazing texture. Really, really enjoyed it. And then there was a further clue to go along the bottom of here, but it wasn't my jam. And you know what? You are the master of your own knitting. You do what you do. So I stopped after the third clue, and I really like it because it's a really nice, compact shawl without the border on it. And also I think last year's I didn't do the border on either. There was like a droopy bit on the bottom of last year's that I didn't do either. So it's just like a nice little size, really. Again, thoroughly enjoyed knitting it, and I kept up with the clues, weirdly enough, which I don't normally do. But it didn't seem like a huge amount of knitting this time, which was nice. Last year's was hard going, and the year before that, actually, there was a lot of knitting in the 2 previous years. So I think maybe taking that on board. But yeah, apart from the controversy, it was a fabulous knit along, as always. I think that's all I've got to say about that. Our third FO. My poor husband. I bought this yarn. He was with me. We went to a... Oh my God. Let's start that sentence again, shall we? We went to a craft fair. There's a place near us called Cowslip Workshops. Predominantly do quilting workshops. But do a few other bits as well. But every year they have a fantastic Christmas fair. Very posh. Very posh. And unfortunately didn't get to go this year because it was on a Friday and Saturday. The Friday I was working, and the Saturday was the day of flock. So sadly didn't get to go this year. But we did go last year, or the year before, should I say, because we are now in the new year. So we went Christmas 2022. And Blacker Yarns had a... Oh, it smells so sheepy. I've just washed it, so still a little bit damp, so it still smells a little bit sheepy. Blacker Yarns had a stand there. And I'd been saying to Nigel, I'll knit you a jumper. And I was going to knit him the Dustland by Stephen West. And I may still do that for him. But I also want to knit him the Montrealer by Maxim Sear. Or Dells. Is it Dells did the Montrealer? Anyway, Les Gossons. But it ain't going to happen anytime soon. Because garments for men made... They're just... I don't know. And also it's that it's not for me type, thing. So I started this. So he picked out the yarn that he liked. Let me just get it here. So it's Blacker Yarns. Oh, everything's got my hair on it. It's falling out. It's the Blacker Swan DK. What's the swan? What film is that from? Just the one swan, actually. It's from the best film that's ever made. That's what it's from. And it is 100% new wool, and it's worsted spun, so it's like really light and airy. These are 50-gram balls, and they're 110 meters for 50 grams. And this is the teal colorway, but they have changed the teal colorway. It is now greener than this. Ask me how I know, because I thought I was going to run out of yarn. Sold them somewhere else. Didn't have this yarn with me, because you don't. Bought a ball of teal, got home, a completely different colour. I'm not just talking like different dye lot, I'm talking completely different colour. Anyway, so thought I was going to end up playing yarn chicken. But this is what I had left. I had masses left, 34 grams left. So what I did, because I thought I was going to run out of yarn, I knit all of the body except the bottom ribbing. And then I did the sleeves. Luckily, it's only got short arms, so I think that's why I had, because the pattern said I knit it as pattern, but I did one less repeat on the body. We tried it on. I tried it on him like every one once, because it says do like 5 or 6 repeats. So it did after the 5th repeat of the body, and you're supposed to do 3 inches of ribbing. I tried it on after the 5th repeat, bearing in mind that it was going to block a bit longer, and I had to have ribbon on the bottom as well. He decided that was, you know, if I did at least 2 inches of ribbing, that was going to be more than sufficient for him. It comes to just under, like, if he's got jeans on, it just comes to like just under the top of the pocket, back pocket on his jean. He was happy with that. And also arms, it said 6 repeats, and I only did 5 for the arms because his arms aren't that long. And then so you've got this twisted rib. So it starts with an I-cord cast on, twisted rib collar, and then you do, it's called, oh, I should tell you what this is really called, shouldn't I? This is the Bumpy cardigan, Bumpy cardigan, by Maxim Cyr, who was one half of Les Garçons. So you do these. Oh, what's happened there? Oh no, I've dropped a stitch. Oh, Belarix. That's right, I'll go in and fix that in a minute. Oh, bum holes. Hold please. Whew. Good job I noticed that, wasn't it? What's happened is when I've come to do the I-cord along here, I've obviously missed a stitch. So that's fine. I'll sew that in a minute. So I've just put a safety pin on it for a minute. Good job I noticed that, or else it all unravelled and I'd have been most upset. So yeah, so you do these I-cord bumps every so often, and then obviously it's round yoke, so you're increasing. You can see the increases, which is a bit annoying, but I did when I see, I don't know. What? Sorry, maybe that's all the room I've got left. Don't know. So yeah, then you carry on, and under the arm is some ribbing as well. So you're doing these I-cord bumps, hence the Bumpy cardigan. It's got the bumpy. There's a shawl. There's a cardigan. Or the shawl is called the Moon Bumps shawl, I think. And this is the Bumpy cardigan, and I believe there's a sweater coming. I first saw this cardigan on Kevin and Ray, who are Needles at the Ready, Needles at the Ready podcast, which if you don't watch, you need to watch. Are just, again, 2 of the sweetest humans, and they're so funny. They are a married couple, and they've got that old married couple energy, and it's just so funny. So this is the bumpy cardigan. So like I said, you've got to start with the I cord, and then you keep this ribbing detail. So this is like all knit in. It's not picked up after the button band. It's an open cardigan. There's no buttons. So the band is just there for decoration really, and to stop it flipping in with an I cord edge. I only did 2 inches of ribbing on the bottom because when we tried it on, that's where he liked it. And it's a 1x1 twisted rib, but you're only twisting the knits. Words are failing me. And then an I cord bind off. So now he can have it. It looks as I was knitting it looked really small, but every time I tried it on, it fitted no problem. And when I blocked it, I did pin it out and block it. So I'm hoping it fits him all right. But yeah, I'm not going to volunteer to knit him another one anytime soon. I'm whispering because he's just out there. Yarns. So yeah, I said it was, and that so it's a DK weight cardigan, and then you use a fingering weight held single to do the bumps, which I used some drops baby merino, which I had in my stash. Which is a grey colour, and it is colour 22. It's 100% wool. So he picked out the yarn, he picked out the contrast yarn. So yeah, when we were so anyway, as I was saying, Kevin and Ray, that's where I saw the cardigan. And I said to Nigel, do you prefer that to the Dustland sweater? And he did. So, and I think that, to be honest, the cardigan, I feel like really arse about face today. I don't know what I'm doing. See, brain has gone again. Yeah. So I think Kev had test knit it for Max, and it's supposed to use spin cycle for the contrast. And as much as I love him, I'm not buying spin cycle for him. And when I said to him, I can get spin cycle for you, but it is X amount per skein and I need 2 skeins, he was like, nah, you're all right. So I did give him the option, but he decided that he liked just the plain grey. He's a very plain type of guy. Doesn't like logoed t-shirts or anything like that. Plain or stripe. That's him. When we first met, he was very man at CNA, bless him. So we've brought him, up to date a bit. No, we've stopped taking the mick out of Nigel. We'll carry on. Is that it? Oh no, it's not it. I would like to introduce, if you follow me on Instagram, then you will have seen this little fella. Isn't he cute? This is Nedward. Gunedward of Grimblewood. I'm sure you all know the Imagined Landscapes gnomes. This is one of them. There's an ebook that she's got, which is Gunedward, and several others. And there's like a little house. There's a tree, I believe. There's like 9, 7, 8, 9, something like that patterns in this little ebook. One of which was at Gunedward. I need to get some of those poly beads for the next one to go in the bums. But I just love his little nose. This is made from mini skeins. This corally colour, it's just, I don't know where I got it from. I found it in my mini skein box, wasn't labelled, might have been from a swap, I really don't know. The pink for the nose is a Sarah's Texture Crafts. Let me consult one of my many notebooks and I'll tell you. Yeah, Sarah's Texture Crafts in the Blossom colourway. She No Longer Dies. The main body is a mini from Homespun House and it's called the Resurrection Stone. And the beard and his hands are another Homespun House, and that's the Elder Wand. And I knit him in 2 days. I think he's so cute. So 2024 for me is the year of the gnome. I am going to try and knit at least one a month. The way I'm feeling at the moment might end up more. But he's so cute. So this brings me on to, do you want to build a snowman? No, do you want to do a knit along with me? We'll have a year of the gnome knit along. I will open a thread in my Ravelry group, which I will link down below. I will put a chatter thread and a FO thread. We also have a hashtag on Instagrams for those of you who can't use Ravelry. It's the word I was looking for. God, what's wrong with my brain? And the hashtag, I will write it along here, or I might I'll put it in the description box, I think, will be hashtag CBC, which stands for Country Bumpkin Creates, CBC Gnome 2024. So if you are unable to use Ravelry, there are 2 things. You can either DM me on Instagram with a picture and I will add it to the thread for you, the FO thread, or yeah, because then you'll have 2 chances of winning. So if you post it on Instagram, use that hashtag CBC Gnome 2024, and then I'll go through both the FO thread and the hashtag. Probably once a quarter, should we say? Should we say once a quarter? And we'll draw some prizes. How exciting is that? Prizes, I don't know what the prizes will be. Or we might change it up. We might do like a pattern from Imagine Landscapes, 1 quarter for 2 people, 1 from the FO thread, 1 from the hashtag, and then maybe I'll send out some minis next time or whatever. So we'll sort something out. I literally thought of this like as I was writing the show notes like half an hour ago. So I haven't got the deets down, but I think that's what we'll do. We'll either do like a pattern. I'll buy you the pattern that you want. Yeah. To increase your gnomey. I didn't choose the gnome life chose me. But he's just so cute. So he sits on my little unit in front underneath the telly at the moment. So he sits looking at me every day. So my aim is to have a gnome army by the end of the year. But I need to get some poly beads so that I can put in their bum so they sit up better. Oh, just putting the kettle on. That's it for FOs. We will be back directly for some whips because he's just put the kettle on and I want a cup of tea. Hello, I'm back. I got my cup of tea. Just had a custard cream. Some energy. Oh, it's hot. I know it's what a cup of tea should be, but Righto, we are on to whippers. I've only got sort of 2 active whips that I am currently working on. I've got lots more, but I'm all out of kilter now. That's better. Sorry for the earthquake. That I'm like working on really. First up is a pair of socks for my sister's birthday. Her birthday is next Friday, I think. Anyway, next week sometime. These are a tube that I cranked because I cranked them before we went on holiday, so they were cranked in September. With every intention of I was going to knit loads while we were on holiday. Didn't pick up the needles for like 4 or 5 days. 4 days? Just can't be bothered. So I have another tube here ready to go. So they will be next month's. They will probably be socks for me. So I have a vintage Imperia sock machine. So I crank the tubes. I have a 64 stitch cylinder. I crank the tube, so just crank, so you can see here. This is just waste yarn. I crank the tube and then just put waste yarn in between, and then so it comes out like one big long snake. So I cranked 3 tubes before we went on holiday. These are by, just trying to find the tag. No, not that one. Oh, no, it's in here somewhere. There it is. These are Fab Funky Fibres in the Never Ending Rainbow colourway. So these, I get the 50 gram skeins. The Fab Funky Fibres are brilliant because I know that I can get a pair of socks out of 50 gram skein of yarn. My sister and I both have the same size feet. We're a size 5, UK size 5. So I know a 50 gram skein I can get a pair of socks out of quite easily. If I use a contrast for the heels, toes and cuffs. I went through my stash and I found a set of Magpie minis from Mr. B's. I kicked myself because when I finished the first cuff, I realised that I normally do a twisted rib and I did an ordinary rib, ordinary 1x1 rib, and it just don't look as nice. So I cut, so when I've got my long tube, I find out where the middle is, I pick up the stitches. I knew where the middle were, these were a perfect double repeat of the stripes. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, 17, 18, 19, 28 stripes. 28 stripe repeat. Do you know how much work goes into a 28 stripe repeat sock? A lot, I can tell you that. I've tried to do self-striping and it ain't easy. So I picked up the row above and the row below. And what I don't pick up with a needle. What I pick up with, I use these are the Clover stitch holders. So they're like a needle on one end, it's not focusing very well, and then it's got like a stopper on the other end, and you can use them to, like, when you've put sleeves on hold, you can put your stitches on there and then the end goes into the stopper. But I find sometimes they don't always stay, this doesn't always stay on properly. So if you're like moving the stuff around, then it doesn't always stay on the holders very well. So I use these to pick up. I found another purpose for them. And then, so I do that, and then I do it on the bottom when I take the waste yarn. So I pick up the stitches around the bottom. So that would have been the tube. If I fold that down there, that would have been the tube. So I pick up here, split here. So then I have a small tube. So we knit a toe one end, we knit a cuff the other end, and then I will cut in for an afterthought heel. I'll measure up. So I do a rounded toe that measures approximately 1 3/4 inches. So on my sock ruler, it tells me a size 5 is 9 3/4 inches from tip of the toe to the heel, end of the heel. So I roughly cut in around 8 inches. Is that right? Yeah. And then, because I know that my toe is going to be 1 3/4 inches. So yeah. And then I do exactly the same. So I do it as if I'm knitting a toe, but what I do is I knit 3 for Sarah. I knit 3 rounds before I start any decreases whatsoever. So I knit 3 rounds for her, and I knit 7 for myself. Just gives a little bit of extra depth. And because she's got skinnier legs than I have, and her feet aren't as wide as mine are, so it just gives me a little bit more depth on the heel for myself. So because I've not been in any rush for these, I could have finished these in a day quite easily once the tube was cranked, if that's all I concentrated on. But what I've been doing is just doing like 1 cuff a day, 1 toe a day, and then tomorrow I'll pick up the heel stitches. So yeah, so that will be my January socks, which you probably won't see again because I'll have gifted them by the time you see this, by the time I record next. But I'll put a picture in of what they look like when they're finished. The contrast was, I went through my mini stash and I had a set of Magpie minis from Mr. B, from Bird Street. I still call them Mr. B's. I'm sorry, you'll always be Mr. B's. Which was like a gradient of greys through to like a really dark charcoal. So that's one from there, and I think it's slate, I'm not sure. This isn't a really active whip, but every now and again I do put some work into it. But it did get a lot of work in December with my lovely ladies, Sophie, Rach and Imogen. We do an advent swap every year. So we swap 24 10-gram minis. I'm just trying to find the end. So there we are. We swap 24 10-gram minis, and then like we put a little chocolate in each day. So I give Imogen 8, I give Rach 8, and I give Sophie 8, and then the other 3 then give me 8 each. So we end up with 24 from 8 from 3 different people. Is that right? 8? Yeah. Maths. I don't do maths very well. And then we put like a little stitch marker or something in, and a little extra each day. So throughout December, I was opening my little 10-gram every day. I'm trying to find my marker. I put a marker in where I started. So this is just a granny blanket, but it's not a square. When I started it, I did like a rectangle. So I'm hoping that when it's done, one side, like 2 sides, will be longer than. There should be a mark. Oh, I put a coat hanger on the tripod. Oh, there was a marker on here anyway, which was the last time you saw it. I put a marker on it, but I can't find that marker. Anyway, this was where I started. So this little snowman, do you want to build a snowman? Was the first day of Advent. So this way here. So that was the first day, and then it obviously went on and on and on. It is massive already. Like when I'm working on it, it covers me. But I want to get, I don't know whether I'll ever get there, but I would like it king size bed size, so we can put it on the bed. So I can have it on the bed. Nigel runs really hot, so we have like a 4.5 tog duvet all year round, and the window open all year round. Some nights I go to bed with more clothes on than I've had on during the day because it is Baltic. I wear like my dressing gown, a jumper, socks, my pyjamas. I haven't resorted to a hat yet, but I'm sure it may come one day. And then in the middle of the night I have a hot flush and it all comes off. But yeah, some nights I do. It's bloody freezing, and he's like, "Oh, it's warm. It's too hot." Like the heating goes off at like 8:30, so it's cool enough for when we go to bed. And then it's Baltic in the morning when you wake up. So anyway, I did manage to complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. About 13.5 rows. I love this bright pink. Yeah, so that was really lovely to do every day during Advent, and it was really nice. Like I worked a lot because obviously working in a supermarché over the Christmas period gets a little tad busy, believe it or not. I actually worked in 2 weeks, the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas. I did more overtime in those 2 weeks than I did in core hours, which is like my contracted hours for the whole month. So by Christmas Day, because I work Christmas Eve as well. Oh, there's the other marker I was looking at. So this was the last time you saw it. So I've put in quite a lot of work since you last saw it. So, yeah. So by Christmas Day, I was a bit tired. And then I had Christmas Day and Boxing Day off. And then back into work on the Wednesday. Which is my contracted day. My contract days are Wednesdays and Fridays. So for the first few weeks of this year, I'm not doing any overtime. I am literally just doing my core hours on a Wednesday and a Friday, and that's it. I'll slightly regret that when payday comes, but at the moment my body is like, yeah, we're like in having some downtime, which means I do get 4 days off in a row, whereas I used to pick up overtime on a Saturday. But over the winter, Nigel changes his days off. During the summer, he has Sunday, Monday off. Like during when the park is open. And then during the winter, he has Saturday, Sunday. So I then swapped picking up overtime on a Saturday to like a Thursday, which meant I worked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and still had 4 days off, which was nice. But obviously the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, it was like all hands on deck. So in the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, I had 2 days off. And by then I'd had enough. And to be fair, this Christmas, most people were lovely. Most. We had somebody rock up at 5. We've closed at 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve because it was a Sunday, so it's Sunday trading hours. Rocked up at 5 to 4 with a full, massive trolley. Come to nearly 300 quid, and then the card didn't go through because they tried to pay. All they had was their Apple Pay, and that cuts off at 250. So we had to void everything, and then we had to put their shopping through in 3 lots of 100 quid. So 4 o'clock finishing turned into nearly 4:30. But there we go. And it was service with a smile, as always. Yeah. So just remember that in future. Please, even not at Christmas. Just be aware of when a supermarket closes, please. Because also, once the shop closes at 4 o'clock, we don't get paid after that. So even though it was nearly 4:30 by the time we got out, we won't get paid after 4 o'clock. So please be nice to retail workers. Please. Thanks. I am a great belief of everybody should have a job in either hospitality or retail at some point in their life. Because I think the human race would be a lot better if they did. That's all I'm saying. I'm getting on a ranty, tangent now, so apologies. Yeah, but we've had some in general, everyone over Christmas was pleasant, which is unusual for Christmas. So this is another penguino for Claire of Bird Street. When we saw them at their trunk show on Wall on the X, I took my penguino because I just finished it. I'm going to take that off because I'm bloody roasting. I took my penguino because I just finished it and I wanted to show everybody. And Claire tried it on, fell in love with it. But Claire's got a poorly shoulder, so she can't knit a huge amount. So I was like, I'll knit you one. I was like, if you've got any yarn, like a second is the wrong, but it would be like a second, like where the dye hasn't broken properly, or it's broken too much, or it hasn't, or there's like a patchy bit on it, or something like that, that they wouldn't sell. Perfect for this because you're marring it, so you're not going to know. So this is all. So I said to Claire, sort out your seconds. So she did. I'm not going to show it all because. So this whole basket is Bird Street yarn from Claire. This, I think this is like their yak silk or their cashmere silk or something. I'm using it. I have got this. I don't know what any of the colourways are. The only one I know is this is Willow on the neck base. Only because I'm knitting a muscle bra out of that at the moment. Oh, one of them must be Go Lightly. I think that's Go Lightly. So yeah, so I said to Claire, I'll knit you one. So when we went to Flock, she came with this huge sack of yarn. I was like, there you go. Thank you very much. I'll have fun with that. So I just started the back panel, and again, I'm doing a garter panel for the back. I'm 20 garter bumps in. I think I need to get to somewhere like 60 something, I believe. So we're getting there. So yeah, so hopefully next time I record I'll have cracked on with that in a big way. that's exciting. I just love them. And then I'm going to start. I did the Pixie Yarn Club, some of the monthly clubs she did last year. That was, and I bought a sock. I bought like a fingering weight and Suri alpaca each month for like 4 months or so, and they're all like deep red. I'm looking at them now, reddies and purples, and so I'm wondering if I need to do one in that sort of colour next. But again, there's so much I want to knit, so. But I just feel you can never have too many penguinos. That's it for knitting, I do believe. The next, I've got some sewing, not patchwork, not clothes sewing, but other types of sewing. I did 2 workshops at the end, near the end of last year. One was through my local quilting group, which is Goosey Quilters. Because Tavistock used to have a goose market, and we do have a goose fair every year, which is tat, but there we go. And so so we had a workshop with a lady called Janine Pope, who is on Instagram as pope.janine, and she does these reverse applique people. So this is my little lady that I did. So there's her little curly hair with her hat on, her coat, her trousers, and her boots. And so it's a very clever technique. This is the reverse. You use something called sew and tear, which is like a stabilizer. And you draw out your figure on like a piece of paper, trace it onto your stitch and tear, and then you sew from this side. So on your bed of your sewing machine, you would have your fabric. So so that you have to be very mindful of, like, trousers go undercoat. So you have to work out like layers. If you were doing like a t-shirt and a cardigan, you would do the t-shirt first and then the cardigan over the top, and possibly your trousers underneath, like underneath the t-shirt. So you just have to be very mindful of layers. So you lay, so the first thing I did was my trousers. So I laid my trouser fabric down. Actually what I did was I pinned it to the front. So I would have a piece sort of this big, pinned it on, and then sewed it from this side, so you can see the sewing lines. And you use your embroidery, like the embroidery foot, like the little round fella, you know what I mean. If you're a sewer, you'll know what I mean, like a free motion. That's what it's called, free motion embroidery foot. And then then her hair was just some zigzags backwards and forwards. And then you go over it sort of several times, and then you cut. She recommends these really. They're scissors by a lady called Karen Buckley, or Karen K Buckley, something like that. Anyway, and they're these little scissors, but the blade is curved. So when you're cutting away your excess, you can really get in to getting close to your stitch line without cutting your stitches, so it all looks neat and tidy. Really enjoyed it. It was only a day's workshop. I could have spent 3 weeks with Janine. She was amazing. All her different techniques and things that, and her little tips, and also she does like the gnomes, and she's done several workshops at cowslip workshops, doing people on bicycles. And if you go onto her Instagram, you'll see, and she's got quite a bit on Pinterest as well. Oh, they're just amazing, some of the things that she's done. And she had an old school, I'm sure it was a photograph of her mum at school, you know, like those class photographs, and she had done just the outline like this of every single, like, as every single person in the photo. It was amazing, absolutely beautiful. So could have spent days and days and days with Janine. Really enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. So we've got our Goosey Quilters AGM on 2 weeks time, and we're going to have our parade of people that we made at Janine's workshop. We had, I think there was 14 people on the first day and 10 on the second day, something like that. So we should have quite an array of people, hopefully. So I just need to trim it, and I'm gonna I'm not gonna quilt it. I'm just gonna make it into a wall hanging. So I'll back it, and I'll do some binding around her to make her, and then I'll do like a little, either do like a little ribbon, might do a little bit of ribbon with some buttons at the top, just to make it a hanging rather than a sleeve at the back that a rod goes through. So yeah, that's my little person. I really enjoyed it. And my chairman's challenge this year, we were given a copy of a famous painting, and we have to interpret that into what we feel that picture says to us. I got the Fighting Tremere, is it called? Which is like an old warship, like from like Battle of Waterloo, I think it was from, being brought in to be broken up. So it's like its last sailing. So I'm going to, don't tell anyone because I'm not supposed to say, but I am going to take what I learnt from Janine, and because this is like an old sailing warship, I am going to do an old man like stooped over. I've managed to get a picture, like an outline picture that I can sort of do, and I'm going to do him like in like a naval uniform, with a walking stick. So it's like his like coming to the end of his life. When I read the synopsis of the picture, I can't remember who the artist is now, but he did this picture as if he was it was coming towards the end of his life. So it was almost like metaphorical that this ship was being in to be broken down and taken apart, and this was going to be like one of his last paintings. So I thought that was quite apt as well. So I thought, if I do like an old man, or do I do like, I don't know. And then I toyed with, well, do I do like a young sailor? Because in the picture it's got like a sunset as well. So do I do an old sailor with a sunrise, and then underneath a sunset with an old sailor? But then I was like, maybe that's too complicated. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I think I'll just stick with the old sailor. Yeah, so that's got to be done by February, so I need to crack on with that. But that's one of my January goals, so I'm hoping to get going with that this week. The second workshop I did was through a group called Southwest Quilters, who, as it says on the tin, are a group of quilters from the Southwest. So it's Dorset, Somerset, I think it's Dorset, Somerset, Cornwall and Devon. And we had our Christmas meeting in Exeter, and the speaker was Stuart Hillard, who was on the first series of the Sewing Bee. If you ever get a chance to hear him speak, he is absolutely hilarious. We had great fun. And then the next day he was doing a bag making workshop. This is one of his new bags. It's called the Rosemary bag. And I attended the workshop. Really, really enjoyed it. So my fabric is these beautiful flowers, little bumblebees, and then my contrast fabric was ladybirds, because there are ladybirds on the front here, so it's all from the same fabric line. And then I just did inside is a pocket, two pockets. I just did a plain red lining, and then I bought brown handles. I just ordered like handles online, and then on the day I was like, not sure the brown handles look really suit it. So I then ordered some navy blue handles, and I think they look much better. And these are just PVC sew-on handles. So you've got a flap with a magnetic clasp. So I'm going to use this now as my sewing bag to go to Quilt Group every fortnight. Really, it's quite sturdy. You use Balsall, it's like a interfacing, but it's like a foam, so it's substantial. Which you then quilted, and on the side we just did some straight line quilting, and on the bottom some straight line quilting just to give it a bit of stability. Did some decoration around the flap. Really, again, I made this in a day. We cut all the fabric out before he sent us the fabric requirements and the cutting requirements, so cut it all out before we went, which obviously saved a huge amount of time. And then yeah, I spent the day sewing, and got it completed in a 6-hour workshop with a lunch break. Surprising what you can do when you buckle down and do it. And he, showed us step-by-step instructions on how we did it. I'm speeding up a bit because I think I've only got space on my phone for another 12 minutes. Another thing I did over Advent, talked about Corinne Lapierre before. I made this little picture. And again, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you will have seen this. Every day you did a little bit. So the first day we did the mushroom house, but you didn't do the door or you didn't do the window or any of the decoration. You literally just cut this out. She gave you the template every day. I don't know whether, I think I've tidied up and I've put the book away. So every day, so it came with everything you need, all the felt, all the embroidery threads, and then each day you've turned a page in the book and it gave you the templates. So the templates for this, everything, templates for everything basically. So the first few days were set in the scene. So you did the toadstool, then you did this, what I thought was going to be a bandstand, but it turned out to be a carousel. Then you did like this house or this cart, and then this house and this house, and then you did the mushroom fire, and then you started putting the decoration on to the things, and then you started adding your little creatures in. This one's really cute. This is a mouse dressed up as a reindeer. I think it's so cute. Little hedgehog, so you've got some like glittery thread in there as well, doing their marshmallows by the fire. A little robin with a hat on, getting his gingerbread, little hare waiting to go on the carousel. So and again every day it was like an hour to an hour and a half each day. Just simple, mindful. I wouldn't say simple. Some of it, I'm not the world's best at embroidery, and this was supposed to be like little like chain stitches, but I'm not very good at that. So I improvised, and it allows you to do that. So some of my embroidery is not brilliant, but you know what? I love it. I absolutely love it. And it wasn't it was just mindless. I tended to do it in the evening after I'd been at work. I just sat down and yeah, just like really, that's glittery there on the roof. Just beautiful. So I'm going to probably back it. I don't, because this goes like right up to the edge, I'm not sure about binding it. But what I might do is just put it on to a bigger piece of felt. So it's got like a 1/2 inch border, like some red felt or something, or cream or something. Yeah, and then border it so it's got a border on it. But really, really, really enjoyed that, and I will be doing. So she's got previous years. So I think she's been doing it about 5 or so years now. And I'll definitely be doing it next year. Definitely. That, my dear friends, is it. So let me know below if you would be interested in Gnome Knit Along. I also would like to get to 500 subscribers. We're fairly close. I think we're about 440, somewhere around there. So if we get to 500, then we'll do a 500 subscriber giveaway as well, and I'll put together a nice package, a nice prize package. So let me know A, if you're interested in gnoming with me, B, if you would like longer, less frequent, or more short podcasts. Let me know. And I will see you in a fortnight. Bye, my darlings.